Thank you for calling the ASMR Help Desk. How may I help you today? Today you have reached our vintage rental phone line, where we will go over this week's selections for video game rentals. So let's get started. We will be selecting games for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The Nintendo Entertainment System is an 8-bit third-generation home entertainment system that was developed by Nintendo. It was first released in Japan as the Family Computer, or FC. That is commonly known as the Famicom, in 1983. The NES was released in test markets in the United States in 1985. And in the following years, it became more readily available to the rest of the country. The first game that we will be talking about today is the classic Super Mario Bros. Super Mario Bros. Is a platform game developed and published by Nintendo, the successor to the 1983 arcade game Mario Bros., and is the first in the Super Mario series. It was released in 1985 for the Famicom in Japan. Its initial release was on September 13th, 1985. In Super Mario Bros., you take on the role of Mario, a plumber who finds his way to the Mushroom Kingdom and is tasked with saving Princess Peach from Bowser, an evil dragon-like creature, sometimes known as King Koopa. You fight mushrooms and turtles, known as Koopa Troopas and Goombas. At the end of almost every level, Toad would be waiting for you to tell you that the princess was in another castle. All of these items became mainstays in the Super Mario Bros. Series. The next selection is The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda is a 1986 action-adventure video game developed and published by Nintendo and designed by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka. Its initial release date was February 21st, 1986. In Legend of Zelda, you play as Link. You are tasked with saving Princess Zelda from the evil Ganon. In this first game, you would find rupees, and it was a top-down. This game is often noted as being the massive breakout of interest in the action-adventure video game genre. Selection is Tetris. Tetris is a tile-matching video game created by Russian software engineer Alexei Pajitnov in 1984 for the Electronica 60 computer. It has been published by several companies, most prominently during a dispute over the appropriation of the rights in the late 1980s. In Tetris, you have a rectangle board, a vertical rectangle, that you must fill up with slowly descending blocks that you can reorient to try to create a solid line across the width of the rectangle. Every time you do that, that line clears, and the goal is to go as long as you can without allowing the blocks to stack up to the top. It's one of those games that's easy to learn but hard to master. Our next game is Contra. Contra is a run-and-gun video game developed and published by Konami. Originally released as a coin-operated game on February 20th, 1987. A home version was released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1988, along with the ports for various computer formats. Basically, this game was a side-scrolling game where you took on the persona of a Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger type leading man from an 80s action movie, and you employ various almost supernatural sci-fi weaponry to attack creatures and other bad guys. This game, while not the impetus of the Konami code, this game was the one that brought it to a larger audience. The code was up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, and then sometimes you would need to hit the start or select button for the code to take. And it would give you 30 extra lives to defeat the game. Ghosts and Goblins. Ghosts and Goblins, known as Makaimura in Japan, is a side-scrolling platform game developed by Capcom and released for arcades in 1985. It is the first game in the Ghosts and Goblins franchise and has since been ported to numerous home platforms. The NES version was released in November of 1986. In this game, you control a knight named Sir Arthur, and you must defeat zombies, ogres, demons, cyclopses, dragons, and other monsters in order to rescue Princess Prinprin, who has been kidnapped by Astaroth, king of the demon world. Along the way, the player can pick up new weapons, bonuses, and extra suits of armor that can help in this task. Our next game is Punch-Out! Punch-Out!, originally titled Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, is a boxing sports fighting video game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, developed and published by Nintendo in 1987. Years later, worldwide releases of the game were rebranded as Punch-Out! In this one, you play a boxer, Little Mac, and you fight various bad guys. You fight various boxers on your way to fight Mike Tyson in the original version. You start off going against Glass Joe, and then the Von Kaiser, then Piston Honda, then Don Flamenco, King Hippo, Great Tiger, Bald Bull, Soda Popinski, Mr. Sandman, Super Macho Man, and then Mike Tyson, or Mr. Dream was the name after the Mike Tyson contract wore out or expired. Our next selection is Super Mario Bros. 2. Super Mario Bros. 2 is a platform video game developed and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The game was first released in North America in October 1988 and in the PAL region the following year. It has been remade or re-released for several video game consoles. What they did was the original Super Mario Bros. 2 was found to be too difficult and very similar to the first game. So what they did was they reskinned Yumi Kojo Doki Doki Panic into Super Mario Bros. 2. That's why the game is such a departure from the normal gameplay of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. For example, in Super Mario Bros. 2, you have the ability to pick up your enemies and throw them, instead of the typical just jumping on them to kill them. You also can pull radishes out of the ground, which then you can throw. Among other things, other features that Super Mario Bros. Hadn't had in the past and frankly hasn't really seen much of since. It is very different from the other versions of Super Mario Bros., though it does have a very devoted fan base. While it is a different game, it is very fun, and I do include myself among that fan base. Also, in Super Mario Bros. 2, you can play as Mario, Luigi, Princess Toadstool, or Toad. And our final game for today is Super Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario Bros. 3 is a platform game developed and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was released for home consoles in Japan on October 23, 1988, and in North America on February 12, 1990. This game got closer to its roots, but was much more developed in that there was an overworld, and which had its own mini games, as well as introducing the raccoon ability for Mario to basically collect a maple leaf and turn into a raccoon that could fly, or at least float, and along as well as other creatures like the frog and that sort of thing. In the 1989 movie The Wizard, Super Mario Bros. Was featured at the end of the movie as the final game, and it was a soft reveal of sorts of the announcement of the game, because the game had already been released in Japan, but it had not been released in North America yet. So in a lot of ways, The Wizard was the way that Super Mario was revealed to the world. I myself remember specifically going to see that movie, not only because it was about video games, but also because it was said in the marketing that it would reveal one of Nintendo's next big releases at the end of the movie. Well, that is all of our games we have today. I hope there was a selection among them that you would find interesting. And as always, if you have any suggestions or thoughts, please share them in the comments below. Thank you so much for calling, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. This show is part of the CIP network, where we inspire creativity one episode at a time.